You're looking at one of the most famous buildings on the entire planet. But its story, oh, it's so much more than what you see today. We're going to dive into the incredible transformation of the Louvre, from a grim, medieval fortress to a global masterpiece. To really get a handle on the Louvre's massive appeal, just look at this number: 10 million. That's how many people walk through its doors every single year. It's an absolutely staggering figure, making it one of the most visited museums in the world. But what is it that draws all these millions of people?
And that really brings us to the central puzzle here, because the Louvre wasn't always a home for art, not even close. Its story is a journey that winds through 8 centuries of French history. So how did a fortress, a place built for war, become the world's most famous art museum? Well, let's find out.
Our story starts not with paintbrushes and marble statues, but with stone and steel. The Louvre's first life, its first chapter, is all about being a formidable fortress, which would eventually become the opulent home of kings.
This timeline really puts the whole journey into perspective, doesn't it? It all kicked off in the 12th century as a fortress. Fast forward to the 16th and 17th centuries, and it had blossomed into this grand royal palace. Then, boom, the French Revolution completely changes the game, turning it into a public museum. And finally, in the 1980s, it got a total facelift, reinventing it as the modern icon we all recognize today.
So here's the thing to remember. For 2 whole centuries, this wasn't a museum. It was the absolute heart of French power. But that all changed with King Louis XIV, the Sun King. He wanted to get away from the rebellious vibe of Paris and really cement his absolute power, so he packed up his entire court and moved to the brand new over-the-top Palace of Versailles. He basically just left this grand Parisian building behind, and in doing so, he set it on a path to a completely new destiny.
And wow, what a destiny it would find. The king's departure paved the way for the single most important transformation in the Louvre's entire history, a change that was born from the fires of revolution.
Now you have to understand just how radical this idea was at the time. Before the revolution, all the great art was hidden away in royal palaces and private collections, something only the super rich ever got to see. But the revolutionaries, they tossed that whole concept out the window. They declared the Louvre a public museum, a national institution where art belonged to everybody. It was a huge political statement, basically democratizing culture for the very first time.
So, with the doors now thrown open to the public, the focus shifted to what was actually inside. The collection started to grow and grow, gathering these incredible treasures from across history and from all around the globe.
Okay, let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer volume of art we're talking about here. The Louvre's total collection, it's over 1 million pieces. It's a collection that spans from ancient Mesopotamia, Greece, and Egypt through the Roman Empire and all the way up to the 19th century. Just massive.
But here's the truly mind-blowing fact. Of that million-plus collection, only about 35,000 works are actually on display at any given time. That's less than 4%. It just gives you a sense of the immense artistic wealth the museum is sitting on, most of which the public never ever gets to see.
And in that tiny fraction that is on display, you've got some of the most famous artworks ever created. We're talking about the super enigmatic Mona Lisa, the iconic Greek statue of the Venus of Milo, the ancient Babylonian Code of Hammurabi, and Michelangelo's incredibly powerful sculpture, The Dying Slave. And that's just a handful of the heavy hitters that pull in the crowds.
But among all these masterpieces, let's be real, one star shines brighter than all the rest. Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa is, without a doubt, the Louvre's main event. It's so valuable and so famous that it's protected behind its own bulletproof glass and is constantly watched by museum guards. It's way more than just a painting at this point. It's a global phenomenon.
But the Louvre story doesn't just end in the past. Nope, it's a living, breathing institution that has kept on evolving right into our modern era.
And nothing shows that evolution better than the architecture itself. You have this amazing contrast. On one side, you've got the historic, super ornate Baroque style of the original palace, a total symbol of royal power. And then, right in the middle of it, you have the modern, sleek glass and steel pyramid, which now serves as the public entrance. It's this perfect, kind of jarring blend of past and present.
This dramatic architectural mashup all happened back in the 1980s. The museum went through this massive redesign. They built a gigantic underground complex for visitors and, most famously, dropped that iconic glass pyramid right in the central courtyard. Now, it's the main gateway to all the treasures inside.
And if you're still not getting a sense of the scale of this place, try this number on for size. 60,000. That's the number of square meters of just exhibition space, and it's spread across 3 separate wings and 4 floors. It is, to put it simply, colossal.
And that massive size has a very real consequence for anyone who visits. You absolutely, 100%, cannot see everything in a single day. It's just not possible. Experiencing the Louvre really requires time, a good plan, or, multiple visits to even begin to scratch the surface.
Which really brings us to our final thought. The Louvre is this incredible monument to human creativity, spanning thousands of years of history and art, from ancient law codes to Renaissance masterpieces. So, knowing you can't possibly see it all, it kind of begs the question, if you had just one day in there, what would you see first?